Welcome to the Comic Binge. This is Sci-Fi Comics with an exclamation point, episode 5. I'm joined again, as always, and hopefully for a long, long time, my buddy Adam here. Adam, hello, sir.
Hey, everyone.
Hello. So today we've got 2 new Alien comic books to talk about. Now, really quickly, I always say Alien. Do we go Alien, Aliens? Does it matter which one you go to when you're referencing the franchise?
Yeah, like it is the Alien franchise, but within that there is Aliens, the second film, and then you have a lot of media that's kind of in the vein of the second film or came out in the popularity of the second film that goes by the name Aliens. And so you see both franchise titles used even now. Like I would say the majority of the new novels are Alien, but you have some that are Aliens, and I guess it just kind of depends what the creator is going for with that, but both are used. So
okay, fair enough. I
always said Aliens comic by Marvel because the main one is Alien.
Yeah, so we have 2 comic books. We have the Alien, which everyone I know, like Adam, loves. Right now, series we're going with. We have issue 5 to review, and we have a one-shot, Aliens, 35th anniversary of one of my favorite movies, Aliens. And both films, Alien and Aliens, are some of my favorite movies ever. I love those movies to death. Anyway, but we'll go with we'll start with the old faithful, meaning the old one that Adam loves so much. And this is obviously the Alien. This is the Alien series. We're on issue 5. This is the Alpha Alien that is now being showcased for the very first time in anything, according to Adam. And I don't remember hearing anything about an Alpha Alien from any kind of movie or a comic book and prose novel, because I don't really read prose novels, but that's a whole different story. So this was a little bit, this issue basically, again, without spoiling it, because I want people to read these comics, gosh darn it, is this comic book basically is picks up where the last one left off as far as the Alpha. You get a good couple glimpses of that. And there's some reveals in here that I was a little shocked about. And basically, Gabriel, Bishop, and Iris are kind of trying to escape, and they're kind of figuring some stuff out as far as what's going on. You learn a lot more. At least I kind of learned a lot more about Gabriel from the standpoint of what he was, like the ultimate company man kind of a thing. And that not necessarily, I don't think a super big spoiler, but it kind of cuts into the ideas of what is motivating the character a little bit, and it's got some, I think, some good emotional scenes. This was more of an emotional buildup, I felt, and there was a shock at the end. I was a little shocked myself. I continue to like the series, and this was a comic book that I felt definitely still teased a lot of unknowns that I'm still kind of like, okay, I'm interested where this could go. But as someone like Adam, who's not been a huge fan of the series, I'm curious where you kind of land. There is one page that is, I don't like putting whole pages up, but I gotta talk about one thing. I'll let you kind of do your review first here, Adam. But before I end, this comic book basically sum it up is basically it's just kind of a shock ending. At least for me, I thought it was a shock ending. And you get a little more of a motivation of what is driving Gabriel in this whole series, at least more of a firm grasp of what's motivating the character. So, Adam, I'm curious. I liked it. I thought it was a solid issue. I think this whole series has been solid. I like the art. I don't hate it. But, Adam, I'm curious where you land on the Alien issue 5.
So, issue 5, I did not dislike as much as the last few.
Yes!
So yeah, I thought this issue was better. I thought it started strong. There's moments that they did a lot in the Dark Horse series where a character will kind of be introspective, and you'll kind of hear a monologue that's in their thoughts, and you'll see stuff that's related to what they're talking about. And it starts off. It starts off with that in this, and I thought it did that pretty well. The art was a little bit better in this. I liked some shots of the Alpha Alien. Again, like I think, like Salvador LaRocca, you look at his old X-Men stuff, he can art. I just feel like he cuts corners when it comes to Star Wars and some of these issues. Right. But with some of his Alpha Alien poses here and some of the other creatures that show up, I thought it was pretty good. It seemed like better than I had experienced in the previous issues. Now, he still had a number of panels where the regular drone kind of big chap style aliens show up, and they still look like NECA figures. They're still not posed very well. So your like standard drone aliens still didn't look that great to me. Okay. There were still a number of perspective issues. I could still recognize some of the environments, but as far as copied, ripped art, nothing like jumped out to me as immediately as some of the previous issues, which was good. But I did like his work with the Alpha Alien in this for the most part.
Me too.
I really like this cover by In-Hyuk Lee.
Yeah.
So again, I would love to see them do a full comic because I think they've done an awesome job on these covers. But LaRocca was a bit better in this one.
Cool.
I'm not going to call myself a fan of his art, but like again, if he's heading in the right direction, hey, like I'm all for that. So, as far as the story, there was a surprise at the end with one of the characters, and I'm not going to spoil it completely, but I will be like, see, this is why you don't give them the gun, Gabriel. As we were saying before. You don't let them have the gun because obviously something like this was going to happen. But it was still kind of a surprise.
Totally, man. I was surprised.
But we got to see a bit more of Gabe's backstory and, like you said, his motivation. So I felt like it felt like we were actually getting somewhere in this one, whereas the last two kind of felt a bit meandering to me. This one, I'm hoping it's going to lead to a good conclusion with issue 7, and that's another thing at AVP Galaxy that we're wondering about is issue 6. The next issue is the final of this arc, but the descriptions have come out for the paperback of issue 7, which starts arc 2, and there's no mention of Gabriel or any of the characters from this. So I'm wondering if it is going to be a new cast completely, or if it'll continue this one. So that could be interesting, or next issue could be the end of Gabe's story with this. So we'll find out before too long. Yeah. But
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you go.
Well, I think that there is something interesting with that. I don't read solicits. Just kind of, I like to I want to be as surprised as possible. Again, within reason, of course. What I would think.
It's a little different for us because we have to report on the news and all.
No, that's true. That's true. No. I get it. And I'm not like, if I hear a solicit or see a solicit, I'm like, oh my God, I'm not like that or anything. Oh, sorry. But what I will say is, if I was a betting man, which I'm not, but if I was, I would say that it's definitely going to be a continuation, especially if it's the same art and writing team. It's probably going to be some kind of continuity with the previous series, whether or not the characters are involved or not.
I wouldn't be too sure about that. I mean, this isn't a superhero thing where you follow a single character. I mean, Alien is always like with Dark Horse, especially, like that's what we were used to. So even though it's an ongoing, I feel like they could easily switch to a new cast of characters and tell, like, it could be an anthology ongoing type of deal. But I mean, obviously I don't know. And so we'll find out. But
when I say that it's a continuation of the story, I'm not saying for those characters maybe necessarily. I'm saying whatever
the world they've set up, and maybe the events that happen in this one could have an impact on what's happening next for sure.
Which we could still get some of those characters still from that previous series. I'm just saying I think they're setting up is definitely going to be continued in the next series. Whether or not those characters come in or not remains to be seen. But I think there's too much world building of what at least I can tell in this series. And I wanted to ask your opinion before we move on. And I'm glad. And by the way, I do think that I think it's rad that you're into this issue, because I did feel this comic book was a lot more. How do I say this? It felt more in line, I would say, with the themes of the previous films, at least not counting Alien Resurrection anyway, or the AVP films, which I still like the AVP.
Come on now.
No. This is not a bashing of AVP. I know. AVP films.
Hey, I was defending Resurrection too. That film was broken.
That was okay. We'll just kind of think about that movie, but whatever. We should do like a commentary one day of me and you doing that, because you could probably explain it to me. I'd just be like, my mouth be dropped the whole, like, why am I watching this again? But but I will say that it felt like the themes of what I love about alien films, of like humanity and like corruption and things like that, and those kinds of things, kind of almost mirroring like American culture, like kind of like the corporate side of it, ideas anyway, and of what, you know, corruption and things like that. Those themes are kind of creeping back finally in there a little bit more, are becoming a little more prevalent, and I really like that they're becoming, and not in a very, not the same ways as the films have. Again, I haven't read a ton of Aliens comic books, but it definitely feels it fits. It's fitting better into that back catalog. Would you agree with that?
I mean, I don't know yet, as far as, because again, I've gone through so many alien stories. It's hard to be like, this one is in line with the original tone of the films, like, because those had like their very own unique voice, and so
sure.
It's good when they have those callbacks and those themes, and there are some interesting themes at play here for sure. And you definitely have the corporate angle, both in this and Aftermath. You know, you find out with a bit more of Gabe's past and his motivations, and there's different perspectives, like, oh, he sold out everything to this company, or this is how he thought that he could protect people, but was it misguided? Like, so there's some interesting questions being asked here. It's not just black and white, like company evil, you know, but
exactly.
Even though Weyland Yutani is company evil, pretty much.
Yeah, company evil. Right.
But it's interesting, you know, because it's like, even if you have company evil, if company evil is like so dominant and powerful, like that it's this huge force in humanity, like there's still going to be human drama associated with that, obviously.
Right.
Things to consider. Yeah. So, as far as the theming goes, I don't know if I would call these in line with the original films too much, but I do feel like they, Marvel has had a rocky start with this, in my opinion, but I'm hoping it'll end strongly. Especially after this issue, it seemed like it was a bit more engaging to me. But we'll see. I still would like to see more teams do more comics, and that was one thing I liked with Aftermath. Once we get into that, we can talk about that. Like, it was a different creative team, so it was a different vibe, and that was one of the things I really liked with Dark Horse, is you would have a lot of different teams, and so each comic felt like its own unique creative vision. And that's what I worry about with an ongoing, is if they just focus on one primary thing, it might just get stale if you have the same creative team, rather than passing it from new to new teams.
What I'll say about the ongoing is this: if they're treating it like Star Wars, which I think so far it feels like they kind of are, when they say ongoing, it probably will only go 25 issues, because all the ongoings for Star Wars, like the Darth Vader series, they'll reboot it after 25. So they'll do, so they'll have one writer or one artist. Like, in fact, LaRocca did the first Darth Vader 25 issues of Darth Vader, or 20 so issues of Darth Vader's arc with Kieran Gillen, and it was, for the most part, I think there might have been maybe a one sub artist or whatever. I'm pretty sure he did most of it. And the next one lasted about 25 issues. So I feel that, and even Poe Dameron, which was another ongoing series, that lasted about 20 something issues. So I feel like they say ongoing, but it probably means more just probably a long standing story over a couple of years of like 20 something issues. So I would say it's probably more that than an actual, like, so go to issue like 75.
With Star Wars, you have a number of different comics, right? You have like Darth Vader, you have Poe Dameron, you have like, I don't know all the different Star Wars comics, but I'm sure there's like more than 5, right? Like more than 5 stories being told at one time, right?
I would say no. And that's the thing you have to understand, I think, about Star Wars, is that I feel when they first relaunched Star Wars, they relaunched it with the main ongoing series, but because of the way it was set up, they made it between the original trilogy. So they had between films, so they had kind of like a start and an end point, and they knew where to go, kind of a thing. And they had Darth Vader. And what was the other series they had? They started out.
They had Jedi Fallen Order as well, right? They had a comic based.
Oh, they've had a lot of miniseries. That's the thing.
They've had a lot of one shots and stuff too, which is again, I want to see more one shots. Maybe a little bit longer than Aftermath, because I felt Aftermath kind of ended abruptly and was a bit short.
I have one.
We'll get to
I have one.
Aftermath. Yeah.
Yeah, I have one last thing to ask you about this.
I think I know which panel you're gonna show me.
Yeah, it's the whole page because I want to highlight the art you mentioned too because I do think LaRocca has nailed the Alpha alien, to be honest, because maybe it's because he helped design it. I don't know, but this is the page that I'm assuming I'm referring to.
So that's not the Alpha alien.
That's not the Alpha alien right there.
No,
in the front.
No.
Which one's that one?
This is, if you remember, this is from Gabriel's past, where they had the space goats, the deformed space goats.
That's right. That's right.
So these are the aliens that came out of those animals because of the DNA reflex. Some of the xenomorphs take on the traits of their hosts. And so with this, it's a xenomorph we haven't seen before. I did see some reactions to this that were like space goat alien, come on, but like
I thought it was well.
I think they look pretty cool. Again, there's still some weird perspective stuff here. Like I can tell the hive texture in the background looks kind of ripped, and the weird like spaghetti coming out of the egg. Like I'm like, what's the deal with that? That's not a thing, but okay. But as far as the aliens themselves, I think they look all right.
What about the panels below?
That's what you're.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
well,
we talked. Yeah. The main thing that jumped out to me was the big alien in the middle. But as far as now that you bring it up, this because we talked about the Alpha before. Like, is she like a psychological manifestation of the Alpha alien, or is she actually some sort of alien overlord or whatever? And this kind of brings that question back up again. Like, she might not be the Alpha, although it was kind of, I don't know. He when he ran into that character before, his friend that he executed, he said like she's here or something. So it's like, is she the Alpha alien? Is she not? Like,
it's cool. I like this. I like this. I like this whole. This was all cool stuff for me. I felt, at least for me, and I thought this was the Alpha for some reason. I don't know why I thought that it wasn't, but no, this was the Space Goat. I remember now. The Space Goat was rad. I think this looks good. I think the Alpha looks great too. I forgot to add a page on here that LaRocca did. It was more of like a far perspective of the Alpha and kind of standing up. I thought it was really cool. And I'm wondering if he did do an actual design of the Alpha. Like that's his design. I don't know if it is or isn't, but I'd be curious because I think it looks really good. My opinion, but that's just me. So anyway. Thank you for that. I was just curious your thoughts. I'm still those two panels below really interest me. I love that. I love this. If
this is like one panel and then zoomed in a bit more in the next one.
I say two panels. You know what I mean. God, stop being so technical with me. Gosh darn it. But I will say this. I'm intrigued by it, but if it actually ends up being her, I hope it's not as like it's. I don't think it's going to be, but if it is, I just hope they play it well, because this could have ramifications for you alien fan, or you, I'm an alien fan, obviously, us alien fans, or the hardcore alien fans like you, Adam, that are like, you can't do this. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We'll see. There's been some wacky stuff before, we just kind of take it, move on, or disregard it. So we'll see what they do with that. I know Aaron, the co-administrator of AVP Galaxy, he likes the whole like Syl kind of Giger-esque female character idea. So I think he was kind of hoping that was an actual thing that would show up. I'm more of the mindset that this is going to be like a telepathic manifestation of the Alpha or something like that. But
which that'd be cool too.
Find out.
I think if that's what the telepathic, mental, personification of the alien that they're communicating to their host, that is fast. That's a really interesting and fascinating idea, to be honest, because that almost seems, to be honest, that's almost more interesting. I thought it was only going to be Gabriel's like perspective. If that's the personification that the alien Alpha is presenting in general, that is fascinating. So that is, I like your take on that.
Another thing real quick in regards to the Alpha, we got to see Gabriel's past in terms of him having the chest burster extracted surgically.
That was cool.
And so that was an interesting thing because, again, there's been multiple takes on that in the franchise.
Right.
Some say the
We
chest
talked about
burster
it last
kills
time.
you. Yeah, even if you take it out. And in this case, obviously, their perspective is, oh no, you can survive it, which I've always preferred that, like the slight bit of hope there. But it's also very interesting in this comic how it presents, like, even if you get it out, you have some sort of link to the aliens, like some sort of psychologically distressing link to the aliens that's still present. So you kind of have this PTSD angle, or this emotional wound in regards to the implantation. So even if you can survive and get the alien removed, in some ways it's kind of still with you. So I do find that angle a bit interesting as well, and I would like to see that explored more.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited about this, and I'm now that you enjoyed it a lot more, I'm really hoping they can bring it home, and maybe it can make you like the other comics more.
I don't know about that. And I don't know if I enjoyed it a lot more.
Let's be optimistic.
Continue the downward trajectory that I was on. So I'll take that as a positive. But
I'm just gonna hold out. You know, there's nothing wrong with holding out for hope, sir. So I'm
gonna hold out for hope. I would love it to end strong for sure.
And if it does, maybe you'll like it. Maybe you'll like it more. You never know. You never know. You never know. But what I appreciate about you right now, Adam, is the fact you're being honest and like, I really enjoyed it a lot more, and you're open to being like, let's end on a good note, and maybe never know, but I know that odds are against it, which is fine. But this will finishing up is Aliens Aftermath, the 35th anniversary issue, which you said it best, Adam, is that it's just it's so short, but this is bare bones review or kind of summary. A crew visiting the Aliens film Hadley's Hope. Is it Haley? It's Hadley's, right? I always want to say
Hadley's Hope is the colony that was destroyed.
Yeah, colony. Yeah. So they're visiting Hadley's Hope from Aliens that was destroyed. Obviously, that's not a spoiler because if you're watching this, you're probably an Aliens fan. And so this is again 35 years later, visiting this site and kind of what is left over. And as you can see here, the glowing alien is on the cover. It's not a spoiler. And that's what this crew, the space crew, winds up with. And again, there is a connection with one of the previous characters from Aliens that's in the book. I don't really want to spoil it because it's such a short book. I just want to save all the surprises. I do have a couple questions for you, Adam, because I'm I love that movie, but there's a couple things I was like, did I not remember this correctly or whatever? But we'll get to that in a second. But for me, I thought this book was really well done. And this was written by Benjamin Percy, I believe. And the art, I need to, oh gosh, I forget that then. The art, I forgot what it was by. If you look it up for me, sir, I'd appreciate it. Yeah, it's a little bit more stylized, I would say, than even LaRocca. LaRocca has a lot more of there's traditional, more of traditional
Dave Watcher to the art.
Dave Watcher, okay.
Yeah.
But it actually reminded me of the book we're eventually going to talk about that you made me read, which I can't wait to eventually dive into. Genocide. It reminded me of the art a little bit of that, not like pound for pound, but in that style and vein, a little bit more.
It was a bit stylized. I don't think it was too heavy on the stylized. There are some Aliens comics from Dark Horse that did go too heavy on the stylized, like Inhuman Condition and stuff like that. But I actually really enjoyed the art of this one. I thought it was a really good step in the right direction. I feel like Dave Watcher, he can definitely do Aliens in terms of the poses and the movement. I wasn't super big on the story in this one because I felt it just petered out way too quickly because it had a good bit of setup and then it just ends so abruptly. Like there's no... If you're like, for me, if it's a one shot, I want it to feel like it's a movie. Like there's a beginning, a middle, and end. Whereas it seems whereas this one, there's a lot of time spent like setting it up, and then you just end it so abruptly. And I'm like, whoa, I would have liked to have seen more because you had me into it. And there's also a few lore issues with the story as well. Like here we can see kind of the nuclear winter, and it's like this was a single nuclear detonation in an isolated area. Like I don't know if it would have caused a nuclear winter 30 years later, but and there's also a couple retcon issues too. Like there's a kind of a twist that that happens later where they find
Yeah,
cryopod.
that was my question. Yeah,
yeah.
What is that?
Well, it would kind of spoil it getting into it, but
Well,
that's supposed to be a character that was seen in the extended cut of Aliens. One of the people that was infected initially with the facehugger. But so I'll just say it. Whatever. It's supposed to be Newt's father, right?
That's what I thought. Yeah. Okay. It was Newt's father. Okay.
So, but that is actually it's not in line with a lot of the other media that pretty much said like, oh, he was dead, like Alien, Sea of Sorrows, and I think Newt's Tale, maybe those comics. So there's been a number of media that's confirmed him as dead. So it did feel like a bit of a heavy retcon for me, as well as the fact that Weyland-Yutani, it was kind of insinuated that they didn't have a specimen yet. Yeah. Whereas given this point in the timeline, like we have a new piece of media coming out in just a few weeks, Aliens Fireteam Elite. And it's pretty clear based on that and on its prequel novel that Weyland-Yutani does have access to alien specimens at this point. So for them to like want that specimen so badly is kind of like, but they have them at this point. So that was kind of, I mean, it doesn't feel like, and I know I kind of like contradict myself on this, right? Because I also don't want like hard canon and everything has to be connected. But at the same time, if you have like a significant piece of media coming out and you have this and they're kind of in the same time frame and they contradict each other and they're coming out close to the same time, it does cause a bit of confusion, I think. But I mean, I still think it was an engaging read, and I really like the artwork. Nothing jumped out at me as copied, So I feel like the art was pretty good. I would like to see I do like the realistic style. I also like mildly stylized like this. So I would like to see realistic style, but not copied. And I felt like LaRocca was heading in that direction with his last issue, which is good. But yeah, the art in here I really enjoyed. You still had the same like corporate versus corporate activist kind of dynamic as you have in the ongoing series. I still think it's worth reading. Like it's a cool one shot. For me, it could have been an extra 10 pages or something, because I feel like it ended so abruptly. And I feel like there were a number of just odd kind of head scratching lore issues. There's another part where they're like, oh, the Marines were hired to go out, and it's like, they weren't. Like that was a whole big thing in the second movie. They were kind of a separate thing from the company.
That's what I thought too.
So, yeah,
that's a good point. The cryo thing was a little confusing for me. I was like, wait, who is what? Like it kind of made me think about who is this supposed to be? I kept thinking, was it the general that got who, but that Vasquez is with, and he goes, you're an asshole, and then I'm like, wait, that's not him. He blows up. So I'm like, I thought it was him for a second there. I'm like, but no, I remember he gets blown up with Vasquez.
Yeah,
and
Lieutenant
I'm like,
Gorman.
Yeah, Gorman. And so I'm like, no, I can't be him either. So I'm like, who is this? And so it took, I'm glad you confirmed that, because I'm like, okay, that's who it's supposed to be. But it's, again, if you don't count the extended cut like canon, which I always watch the director's cut. I never watch the theatrical. I always go extended when I watch it. So
I think Cameron has said that's his definitive vision was the special edition for Aliens, and that's what I consider to be the canonical one. I mean, but the only thing that's really different is the edition of Ripley's daughter in the special edition, which we've had. Well, I mean, there's more differences, but the most significant thing is the Ripley's daughter arc, which has appeared in other media like Alien Isolation now. So I feel like the special edition is kind of taken as canon.
Yeah, I can see that. So yeah, I thought this was a solid issue. I mean, if you're an Aliens fan and you're enjoying Aliens comic books right now, I think definitely pick it up. If you're not really into this Alien series, like Adam hasn't been, for the most part, I think this is definitely worth picking up. I thought the storytelling was strong. I thought it was a pretty solid story. I'm like you. I wish it would be a little bit longer. It definitely has the same themes, the whole corporation idea, and if I'm not mistaken, now again, I'm going to bring up something you love very much, AVP2. So is that the same like character, the Utani person from AVP2?
Oh, Miss Utani?
Yeah.
I don't think it's the same character. I mean,
Not the same character, but like is that supposed to be like the Utani part?
well, you've had yeah, I mean, you've had Utani show up in a number of different iterations. There was a mini sequel to Isolation, a mobile game called Alien Blackout, and they had a relative to Miss Utani there. But you had Miss Utani in AVPR, and I believe you had I think it was a Mr. Utani in the game Predator Concrete Jungle, but I don't know if you want to include that. But
Concrete
so
Jungle.
Miss Utani has been delved into far less than the Wayland side of things. But I feel like there's probably different takes and contradictions there as well. I mean, you have Charles Bishop Wayland with AVP, and then you have Peter Wayland with the Alien prequels, and I think it's probably there's just different takes on the character with Miss Utani. So again, like they don't really go into who she is. Like, could be like this family lineage thing or whatever. I don't know. But it's just like they do that for like, oh, it's Utani of Wayland Utani. She's important, you know. So but they kind of ended on a cliffhanger a little bit. Well, not. I mean, kind of. So I think as far as the alien, like the alien itself, I really like the art of the alien. I'm not so big on the concept of a glowy alien that bleeds liquid nitrogen, because the alien can't really hide if it's super illuminated. So I don't know. It's just I think so the alien inspired. Was irradiated. What like, and that's what makes it glow. So, Aliens: Colonial Marines, the video game that everybody hated, they had a different take on it where you had these boiler aliens that were irradiated. I guess that was the like insinuation on it, and they were like these big kind of nasty zombie aliens that would explode on you. So that was kind of cool, but this whole like, I don't know, I just it was kind of, it was weird for me because like I love how the alien looks in terms of the actual illustration and line art of it. Like I think it looks great and he can do aliens, Watcher can. I just didn't like the concept of a bright alien that bleeds liquid nitrogen. And I was like, this is it's a little out there for me, but that
felt very inspired for me. But that's maybe that's the comic book side of me, you know, of that kind of craziness. I don't know. I like it. So, but yeah, I can see why you wouldn't. It definitely doesn't really line up, I think, with like more of the lore of Alien overall. Because
that's the thing, aliens, they hide in the dark, man. Like if you have this bright alien, it's just like, whoa, what? So.
Hey, you know, we got genocide to talk about. We're going to talk about colored aliens all you know, in a few weeks here, you know. So hopefully,
yeah, we'll get to that one.
Yeah, I'm excited. Because I'm very curious where we're going to both land.
We could probably pair that with the final issue of.
I think we could. I think we could. Yeah, hopefully we'll go from there. But anyway, kind of wrapping this up. I think pretty solid month, to be honest. I think if you're looking to get into Aliens comic books, you've got some good stuff to choose from this week, you know. And I think if you're on the fence for Alien series right now, I think this issue might maybe start to change your mind a little bit. Maybe Adam's not there yet. Maybe he will be. Maybe the sixth issue will. What's something that, like, you know, a twist ending where you're going to be like, oh man, now I have to go back and reread the whole thing and like have to, you know.
I don't know if it'll get me that good. It's just I might consider it okay instead of bad if it ends strong.
I'll say this is Philip Kennedy Johnson wrote one of my favorite Superman comic books, and it stemmed from Future State. These two other issues were not bad; they're solid. I read his House of L comic book and it blew me away, and I loved it. Mm-hmm. So it made me appreciate what he did in the previous two issues to this. I haven't read anything else by him, and I need to, because he seems like an interesting person. He's ex-military, you know, and has a good grasp. I think he's got a strong voice of characters. So I'm curious where it could go. I'm curious what the last issue will bring us. So till next time, we will be very excited to review that, possibly Genocide, hopefully finally, that we've been talking about reading, the original Dark Horse comic books from that you can get online now, I think on Comixology. So check that out. Adam, where can people find you and follow you and all your exploits?
So if you'd like to follow me personally, it's just at Ridgetop21 on both Instagram and Twitter. And I am on the site staff for AVP Galaxy, or Alien vs. Predator Galaxy. We are a fan site with news, editorials, interviews, discussion board. So if you'd like to check out our website, it's just avpgalaxy.net. And you can also find that site on all the major socials: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. If you just search AVP Galaxy or Alien vs. Predator Galaxy, you're sure to find us.
Yeah, and honestly, you guys aren't going to find anyone who's more like capable of following every bit of news and breadcrumb. Like that site has it, and it's always been impressive. Always my go-to. Love those guys. Even before I knew those guys, I was following them and everything. So go follow their stuff. Follow Adam. Adam's awesome, dude. Do it.
Oh,
and
well,
please
thanks,
follow.
man. I appreciate it.
I mean, come on, Adam, my boy. Come on. And please follow the Comic Binge, subscribe, like all those videos, all that stuff. I need to say this stuff at the beginning, but I never do. I'm always so bad about that. Like, I whatever. Doesn't matter.
I don't know. I don't like all the plugs at the beginning in YouTube videos, to be honest. I get a little
well, there you go.
when people do that.
Well, there you go. I'm not irritating some people. That's good. But follow the Comic Binge on Twitter. I've got a TikTok. Got an Instagram, follow it. They're all kind of random names. So if you type the Comic Binge, you'll see the logo. You'll know where to find me. But yes, follow me on there. My Twitter is Herman22 with 2 N's, aka P Thug. And as always, read more comic books. See you guys
later.